All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shai by Hashem, Rakah HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and elders of Great Millstone who teach and rule well, and peace and salutation unto the elect, the 1/3 of Yasha Allah, upholding the law, statutes, and commandments to the best of their ability. Peace and salutation. This is the brother Bakwasha, and I want to go into this politician that's going in on the merger of Netflix and Warner Brothers. And essentially he's asking some of these companies why they're so heavily producing transformer ideologies. And part of that reason is because Esau, the so-called white man, in himself, okay, is a transformer. Okay, he believes in androgyny. He believes in bestiality, okay, zoology, all of these acts that are against the Holy Scriptures, Esau, the so-called white man, promotes, okay? Anything that is of a righteous conversation, Esau, the so-called white man, does the complete opposite. And so I'm going to play a little bit of this because it just shows that even some of these Edomites, and I'm not sure if this guy's an Edomite that's asking the question, but either way, the son of perdition, the man of sin, is being revealed. All of these corporations, these companies, the agenda of Babylon, aka America, is really ultimately to cater to the flesh. Okay. And scripture says it is the spirit that quickeneth and maketh alive. The flesh profiteth nothing. And Esau, the so-called white man, through his media, through his sorcery, through his witchcraft, through his channels and avenues of propaganda, are coming after children. And have always. Back in the day, we used to talk about NAMBLA. There's many areas in the world where child trafficking exists. Obviously, the Epstein files or whatever's being revealed of that is showing the nature of Esau, the so-called white man. Okay, and 2/3 of our people are in bed with Esau, the so-called white man, in a spiritual and an intimate sense. So I'm gonna play this video. Lord will, it'll be edifying. Got a couple precepts that just reflect the wickedness of this society and how tainted it is, and how it's just full of lies, man. Okay, and you can't expect any of these Edomites to reveal the truth because the truth is not in them. Okay, so we'll play a couple minutes of this video, and Lord will, it'll be edifying for the elect. Let's start off here in the book of Isaiah, the 3rd chapter and 9th verse. It says, "The show of their countenance doeth witness against them, and they declare their sin as Sodom, they hide it not. Woe unto their soul, for they have rewarded evil unto themselves." It says, and they declare their sin as Sodom and hide it not. So that's what you're going to hear. Lord will, like I said, this will be edifying for the elect. And any precepts, feel free to drop those in the comment section below.
Why is it that so much of Netflix content for children promotes a transgender ideology? Almost half of your content for children, I'm talking about minor children now, I'm not talking about teenagers, minor children, promotes a transgender ideology agenda. I was just looking at the data here from your various series. And what concerns me is just 2 days ago, a jury in New York awarded a former transitioner $2 million because she said that her psychologists and others pressured her into, they pushed on her an ideology that proved to be extremely detrimental. I'm sure you know that in the UK, the National Health Service in the UK has said that they're not going to perform transgender surgeries or any longer so-called gender-affirming care for minors, including in counseling, because it is so incredibly detrimental. Our own HHS has come forward with similar findings this past year, yet if you turn on Netflix, you'll find that an enormous amount, I say this as a parent with 3 young children, an enormous amount of your children's programming has this ideology and agenda in it. Is this an advocacy position for Netflix? Is this an ideological commitment you have? I mean, why is this?
Generally, Netflix has no political agenda of any kind. I would tell you that.
Well, then why is your children's program so full of this highly sexualized, highly controversial agenda? I don't understand it. It seems strange to me.
Respectfully, sir, it's because it's inaccurate. We have millions of hours of children's programming.
You're saying it's not that you don't have trans, you don't feature trans characters, trans storylines, trans themes. It's not in your programming.
I'm saying we feature a wide variety of stories and programs to meet a wide variety of people's tastes.
Why is almost half of it? Why does almost half of your children's program feature this highly controversial, highly sexualized material? That just seems strange to me. It can't possibly be a reflection of the population.
And so, once again, he's grilling him on why almost half of the content is focused towards children and Transformers. Not the toys, not the cartoon, but people changing their sexual orientation. Okay? So now Netflix in itself is being used as a means for kids to now learn behaviors that are uncommon to their flesh, to the natural order in which Yahweh Shemi Yahushua has created them. Why is that? Isaiah 3:9. The show of their countenance doeth witness against them, and they declare their sin as Sodom. They hide it not. These Edomites don't care about putting that type of lewdness out into the world because that's really their nature. They're not trying to hide it. They're trying to go against the people that have a problem with it. Okay? It says, woe unto their souls or their soul, for they have rewarded evil unto themselves. This is verse 11. Woe unto the wicked, it shall be ill with him, for the reward of his hands shall be given him. And so all of these thoughts, this agenda, right? And I even pulled it up on chat as well. Oh, Salaki, right here. It says, what is the percentage of children's Transformers programming? If you're asking about what percentage of children's television programming, especially on streaming services, includes Transformers themselves characters, but note that there's no standardized industry-wide statistics. It says children's programming. It says about 33% of youth-oriented series overall contain some form of Transformers, okay, or alphabet game. It says the same report also highlighted that over 40% of Netflix G-rated and TV Y7 shows featured Skittles content, which includes any alphabet identity, not solely Transformers. It says another analysis noted 42% of children's shows debuting on Netflix had alphabet representation, rising to around 60% for shows rated suitable for children in 2023. But that figure also mixes alphabet gang themes broadly and isn't exclusive to Transformers. Okay? It says, while between roughly 1/3 and over 40% of children's TV content may include some alphabet representation in parts of programming based on available streaming platforms. And basically this is them saying that, oh, well, we can't necessarily define which ones because there's no statistic that goes into it. But that's the point, man. Okay? Which is over 40%, okay, are being pushed on these platforms, man. This is Isaiah chapter 13, verse 11. And I will punish the world for their evil and the wicked for their iniquity. And I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease and will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. Okay? Because they are the ones that are declaring their sin as Sodom, man. Okay? And they're not hiding it. So Yahweh Shemi Yahushai, just as he did ancient Sodom and Gomorrah, he's going to do the same thing to this modern day Sodom and Gomorrah. Okay? Which is, as the scriptures say, spiritually Sodom, spiritually Egypt. Okay? So punishment is coming for these acts. Just because the Senate or, the Congress isn't going to step in and prevent these mergers. Yahweh Shem Yahushua will, because ultimately when Warner Brothers and Netflix come together, they're basically going to have a monopoly on all of the programming in which people watch. And if it's at over 40% now, it's only going to escalate as these mergers continue to occur. Okay?
So I don't have any idea where that number would come from or what that would be. I don't believe that's been your personal experience, but I can't speak to that.
Well, what do you mean you don't think it's been my personal experience? You don't think that I monitor what my children watch? Here's what I tell you what my personal experience is since you bring it up. My personal experience is that my 3 children, I can't let them watch anything they want on Netflix. I can't let them watch anything on Netflix unless I preview it because I don't have confidence in what's on your platform. I don't know what they're going to encounter, and I tell you what, I don't want my kids being pushed an agenda about their sexuality or gender identity when I have not had the opportunity first to discuss it with them and to form them in that. And I, frankly, on behalf of parents around the country, it offends me that Netflix is pushing this content at parents in what seems to be a very coordinated, thought-through, planned-out agenda in a way that, frankly, I think undermines parents, certainly undermines me and my wife. We have to watch every show beforehand before we can let our kids watch it. Now, I don't know. That seems pretty concerning to me. I know you make a gob of money on it, and maybe that's the answer. But it just seems to me that it's a disservice to the parents of this country, particularly given what's happening with our youth on this subject.
So if I may answer, like I said, we have millions of hours of content on Netflix at any given time. We have state-of-the-art tools for you to manage those choices for your children and to block any title that you might be offended by for any reason. So we are parents at Netflix as well. We share all your concerns about raising kids and also the ability to raise them as you see fit in your household and anyone else's household as well.
My concern is that you don't share my values or those of many other American parents, and you want the United States government to allow you to become one of the largest, if not the largest, streaming monopolists in the world.
Exactly. And that is the concern, because you have evil men, wicked men, okay, doing these types of acts. This is Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 4. It says, behold, his soul, which is lifted up, is not upright in him. It's not upright. It's not in alignment with the law, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Scripture even says that his mind is not even on Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Let's grab that. This is Psalms chapter 10, verse 4. The wicked, through the pride of his countenance. We already talked about the pride of his countenance in Isaiah the 3rd chapter. The show of their countenance doeth witness against them. What does that show? Pride. Okay. Literally, that's the reason why they have months called after what they are portraying across the globe. Okay. Pride, rebellion. Psalms 10 and 4. The wicked through the pride of his countenance. Okay. And what's his countenance? The behavior, how he views himself. Let's grab that real quick.
Strong's H639.
It's talking about your face, right? Essentially, let's grab the Google definition just for some more context. Okay. Countenance. A person's face or facial expression. All right. It says back in Psalms 10 and 4, the wicked through the pride of his countenance. So when you see someone has a proudful look, as a matter of fact, the scriptures go into that. This is, let's bring all of these out. This is Proverbs 6 and 16. It says, these 6 things doeth the Lord hate, yea, 7 are an abomination unto him. A proud look. That's the countenance. Okay. Oh yeah, we're going to push Transformers on your kids and there's nothing you can do about it because we're making tons of money. Okay. That's the wicked spirit that's in these people. Okay. A proud look, a lying tongue, and hands that shed innocent blood. All right. Job 40 and 12. Look on everyone that is proud and bring him low and tread down the wicked in their place. Psalm 101 verse 5. Whoso privately privately slandereth his neighbor, him will I cut off. Him that hath an high look and a proud heart will not I suffer. Okay. And Proverbs 21:4, a high look and a proud heart and the plowing of the wicked is sin. Okay. So back in Job 40:12, look on everyone that is proud and bring him low and tread down the wicked in their place. Because this is what Esau, the so-called white man, is doing. Okay? In all of the companies, wherever there's employment, Esau is making for sure that those transformers are in positions of power and authority, man. Okay? That's pride. To put that type of programming on TV, man. Or on streaming platforms. Either way. Okay? We got a couple more real quick and then we'll wrap up. This is let's read it one more time. Psalm chapter 10, verse 4. The wicked, through the pride of his countenance, okay, through the looks, through the pride, that high look, that haughty spirit, okay, will not seek after Yahweh. Okay. So, of course, back in Habakkuk 2:4, behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright. It can't be. He's not programmed to be upright. He's programmed to be the basis of men. Okay. This is Daniel chapter 4, verse 17. This matter is by the decree of the watchers, the prophets of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, out on highways and byways, okay, prophesying the words of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, okay, watching for this place to fall, watching the prophecies being fulfilled. And the demand by the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomsoever he will, and set it up over it the basis of men. Okay, that's Esau, the so-called white man. That's part of the reason why the earth has been given into the hand of the wicked, because you're looking at a base man, okay, base going into that carnal nature. Where is this word? Oh, it's like, okay, if you look at you have a base of your body. Okay. Most people think the base of your body is your feet. The base of your body is where your legs and your midpoint come together. Okay. That's your base. That's your base flesh. We'll just call it that. Okay. And we're gonna get into this word here, base. It says lowest of station. Okay, so when you sit down on your base. Okay, you don't sit down on your feet, you sit down on your base, which is your bottom. Okay, so Esau, the so-called white man, is at the very bottom, meaning his mindset, the soul that he has, the carnal nature, the Sodom and Gomorrah, the countenance, all of that is base thoughts and ideas that have been pushed across the four corners of the globe. To where when we read Job 9:24, we know that the earth has been given into the hand of the wicked. But what is the wicked doing? Pushing base ideologies. Carnal nature. Okay. Let's see if there's a root word here. It says lowliest of station. Okay, going back to the serpent. Okay. Subtile, base creature, crawling on his belly. Okay. And when you think about that, man, like, you got to be a low life individual. That's why, like, these Amalekites are considered like rats, man. Okay. Scavengers and just base creatures. Okay. It says to bring low, base. Okay. To subdue. Yeah. So that's the point, man. Okay. Yahweh Shem Yahushua has set up the basis of men to rule over this place. All right. And that's why he's pushing a base agenda. All right. And so when you look at, Netflix or any of these corporations that have these transformers promoting these ideologies, to them, they're looking at it from the perspective of what's wrong with you. That's just how base they are, because they don't have the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. It's not dwelling with them. As a matter of fact, I don't know if I finished off that precept, so let's read it again. It says, Habakkuk 2 and 4, behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. Esau, the so-called white man, doesn't have faith in Yahweh Shem Yahushua. We have read it. The Lord is not in all of his thoughts. Yahweh is not in all of his thoughts. Okay? So that soul which is lifted up in pride. And that's the reason why he's able to push all of these agendas. And he's going to keep on doing it until this place is torched. Okay? Let's play this last part.
Fight over wokeness. You question the Netflix CEO. Fight over wokeness. You question the Netflix CEO about children's programming. Take a listen.
The children's program is so full of this highly sexualized, highly controversial agenda. I don't understand it. It seems strange to me.
Respectfully, sir, it's because it's inaccurate. We have millions of hours of children's programming.
You're saying it's not there. You don't have trans. You don't feature trans characters, trans storylines, trans themes. It's not in your programming.
I'm saying we feature a wide variety of stories and programs to meet a wide variety of people's tastes.
So were you satisfied in that exchange? What came out of it? And does that somehow hinder this going through?
I'm not satisfied with the exchange, and I'm not satisfied as a parent because I know firsthand, Brett, and I told this to the CEO to his face. I've got 3 small children at home. I can't let them watch anything on Netflix unless my wife or I view it first because the content is so highly sexualized. A recent study by Concerned Women for America, for example, found that almost 50% of Netflix's programming for minor children, we're talking about young children here, has highly sexual content, including those transgender themes I was just talking about. I think it's insane, and this is an outfit, a streaming platform that in 2020 ran a program called Cuties, which was about small children performing sex acts on YouTube. They filmed it. They put it up on their platform. It was available for all the world, including children. This is nuts. And my view is they're asking for something approaching monopoly status. They want to become the undisputed biggest streamer in the world. I think we better take a close look at the content they're putting out before we do that.
So if brothers are in the spirit to check this out, okay, it's called Cuties or whatever. And I'll just play this first part, and like I said, it's basically a show that came from somewhere over in France. But as you can tell, you got these are minors, okay, meaning below the age of puberty, okay, because puberty in itself doesn't have a specific age, okay. It's whether or not a girl has passed the flower of her youth. That could be from the age of as low as 9, or even some other cases to 12, 13. Okay? So it shouldn't be for the public eye to have on underwear, bras, things like that, man. But this is what Esau does. Hypersexualizes everything, weaponizes everything. Okay? Because that's what a base man would do. Keep you at a base level to where you don't rise and elevate to the calling that Yahweh Shem Yahushua has for you, specifically the elect. Okay?
Short but impactful, I have limited the scene compilations to specific scenes where they have the child actors do things that I believe to be highly inappropriate and disturbing. I will only be using pixelated stills. The stills that are pixelated are the ones in which the child actors are scantily cladded or doing acts that are meant to be seen as sexual. I will just describe what is happening in each pixelated still so that you can understand. This way, I can still show you proof of what I'm talking about without further spreading images of what the child actors were made to do in the movie. The movie starts with our protagonist, Amy, and her mother in a religious gathering. After the gathering, she goes downstairs to the laundry room because she hears this loud dance music, and that is where she meets Angelica. And so Angelica in this scene, she's busy doing her laundry while dancing to the loud music. And in this scene, we see her wearing a very revealing crop top. It has a really low V neckline, and she's wearing like really tight fake leather pants in this scene. So in this scene, Angelica, she's seen wearing something that looks basically like a bra. You know, it's basically a bra. And she's also wearing a short skirt that just like barely goes up to her mid-thighs.
And like I said, brothers can go through this stuff in their own time. But the point being here is these are the types of shows. Okay. And I think I had listed some of these. Some of these shows come on or whatever. But the point being here is this is like over 40% is a campaign. Okay? And it's hella wicked, man. So let's wrap up. Gotta head to camp. This is Habakkuk Salakia. This is 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 3. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin, okay, man of sin, Esau, the so-called white man, be revealed, because the man of sin is the basis of men. Okay? Because the acts that are being committed are of the flesh. Okay? Because he has a carnal nature. That's why the scripture says a carnal mind is enmity with Yahweh Shem Yahushua. This is Romans chapter 8. Romans chapter 8, verse 5. For they that are after the flesh do mind the things of the flesh. That's why Esau pushes these hypersexual scenarios. And then because people become so adapted to the environment, they now don't have any standard of, well, if oh my God. And then you put it on kids that haven't fully developed their thought process. So now kids are looking at scenarios and saying, well, maybe I want to be a dude. As a little girl, none of that should even enter into thoughts. Okay? And these are more and more of the reasons why Sodom and Gomorrah were destroyed. Likewise, Babylon, aka America. It says, this is Romans 8 and 5. For they that are after the flesh do mind the things of the flesh, but they that are after the spirit, the things of the spirit. For to be carnally minded is death. Carnally minded. Okay? That's his pride. Okay? I don't care about, kids, what their ages are. I care about the bottom line. The bottom line. Okay? It says, for to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace. Verse 7, because the carnal mind is enmity against Yahweh, for it is not subject to the law of Yahweh, neither indeed can be. It says, so then they that are in the flesh cannot please Yahweh. So once again, we already know Esau is the basis of men. We already know that his mind is not on Yahweh by Shem Yahushai. Okay. And so when you get into these programs, you got kids wearing things like literal kids that haven't had, their cycle, promoting all types of heinous acts, wearing scantily clad clothing, right? Doing all types of sexual acts. Okay, we're talking about like third and fourth graders, maybe fifth graders tops. And then now what it's doing is setting a course for other kids to do the same thing. Because how many kids have their parents at home to where now they can even monitor the Netflix? Or most kids even know how to get around that anyway. So point being here is this place got to go, man. Okay? 2 Thessalonians 2 and 3, let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, the son of death. We read that in Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter. Matter of fact, I don't know if we got to verse 5. Yea, also, Habakkuk 2 and 5, yea, also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man. We talked about his proud look. Neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell and is as death. Okay? Because you're a carnal man. You got a carnal mind. You're all about the flesh and cannot be satisfied, but gather unto him all nations and heap unto him all people. Okay? Yeah, so like I said, this is 2 Thessalonians 2 and 4. It says, who opposeth and exalted himself above all that is called Yahweh, or that is worshipped, so that he, as the Most High, sitteth in the temple of the Most High, showing himself that he is the Most High. And that's ultimately what he's doing. He's looking to create more carnally natured kids. Like if you look at, the Disney Channel and all of these corporations, okay, they're all meant to create more of a androgynous alphabet soup, transformer society, man. Because then now that mind can be more controlled than the spiritual mind of the righteous and of the hopeful elect of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Okay? All of this is about is mind control. Okay? And then ultimately Esau is trying to put that charagma in people to where he can identify who the elect is. But by all that time, hey, this place is going to be on fire, man. Okay. So just wanted to go into that real quick. Lord will, it was edifying, revealing, because, these streaming services, some of it may have some good content, but it's very easy for, kids to fall down a rabbit hole. When you got over 40%, that means anything that they search, out of 10 searches, 4 or 5 of those are going to be alphabet soup. And it may not have the same title as alphabet soup. It may just be a good, film 60% through the film. And then next thing you know, hard left. And then now you in a whole world filled with nothing but deviance. So I'll wrap up on this, and Lord will, it was edifying.
Monopoly status. They want to become the undisputed biggest streamer in the world. I think we better take a close look at the content they're putting out before we do that.
Well, Senator Hawley, we'll follow it. We appreciate the time.
Shalom.